Some folks believe that when a story ends, that's all there is. A final chapter, a closed book, a life lived, and then silence. But what if the silence isn't empty? What if it's just a pause, a quiet breath between one world and the next? There are places on this earth, tucked away in the corners of our busy lives, where the echoes of the past don't scream, they whisper. They don't seek to frighten, but perhaps just to be remembered. These are not the tales that keep you up at night, checking the locks and peering into the darkness. No, these are the stories you lean into, the kind that make you wonder about the thin veil that separates then from now. They are gentle reminders that life, in all its forms, is a persistent and beautiful thing. Stories of a friendly presence, a lingering melody, a sense of comfort where you'd least expect it. It's a different kind of haunting, one that feels less like a scare and more like a shared memory. So tonight we're not going to venture into the shadows that bite. Instead, we'll pull up a chair to the hearth of history and listen to the softest of spooky tales. We'll explore 10 gentle haunts, perfect for a quiet evening with a warm drink in hand. Chapter 1. It's the kind of establishment where history is not just in the architecture, but soaked into the very fabric of the place. For years, guest staff have spoken of a certain permanent resident, a quiet gentleman, they say, who seems to enjoy the peace of the hotel library long after the last living patron has retired for the night. This is a place where people believe the spirit of the great Charles Dickens himself still wanders. There are no rattling chains here, no shrieks. A guest, settled in for a late-night read, might hear the soft, rhythmic tapping of a clay pipe against an ashtray, only to look up and find no one there. A librarian, closing up for the evening, might catch a fleeting glimpse of a shadowy figure in a wing-back chair, a silhouette of a man with a distinct beard, lost in thought. He seems to be a ghost who respects the quietude of his surroundings, a spectre of studious contemplation. The stories are always gentle, told with a sense of wonder rather than fear. A guest might mention smelling the faint, sweet aroma of pipe tobacco in a room where no one has smoked for decades. Another might feel a sudden, inexplicable warmth, as if someone had just been standing near the fireplace, admiring the flames. These are not encounters that cause panic. They are subtle, almost polite intrusions from another time. The staff often speak of him fondly, as if he was simply their most long-standing and least demanding guest. It's a haunting that feels less like an invasion and more like a shared tenancy. The living and the lingering coexist in a silent, mutual respect. It's the idea that a great storyteller might have loved a place so much, he simply couldn't bring himself to leave it entirely. Now let's journey from the quiet dignity of London to the heart of American music, to a modest downtown motel where the rhythm of the past still plays. This isn't a palace, but a place that once offered a moment's rest to one of the most famous men in the world. It's said that here, in these unassuming rooms, the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley, sometimes makes a soft return. It's a story told not with shivers, but with a nostalgic smile and a tapping foot. A late-night traveler, weary from the road, might hear the faint, unmistakable sound of a piano drifting from the end of the hall. Not a full concert, but just a few chords, a gentle melody played with that signature flair, as if someone were idly practicing a beloved tune. When they go to investigate, the hallway is empty, the music faded into the hum of the ice machine. It's a private performance, just for the quiet halls of the motel. Other stories are even more surprising and just as gentle. A housekeeper, turning down a bed in a room known for these occurrences, might find something left behind. Not a mess, but a gift. A pair of white sequined gloves, resting neatly on the pillow, impossibly clean and sparkling under the dim light. They feel real to the touch, but when the housekeeper turns to call a manager, she looks back to find the pillow empty. The gloves vanished as mysteriously as they appeared. A little touch of Graceland glamour left behind for a fleeting moment. These experiences are steeped in a warm, cozy nostalgia. They're not meant to scare, but to delight. It's the feeling of being part of a secret, a brief magical intersection with a legend. Before it became famous for fiction, it was known for its crisp mountain air, its stunning views, and spirited residents who have been there since the beginning. The hotel was a marvel of its time, opened by Freelan Oscar Stanley himself, and some say he and his wife Flora never quite checked out. Guests and staff don't speak of menacing figures in the hallways. Instead, they talk of the joyful sound of a piano playing in the music room, with no one seated at the keys. The melody is lively and celebratory, as if Flora Stanley herself is hosting one of her famous parties. Her spectral audience listens with delight. The hotel has long been a haven for writers and artists. The famous author Stephen King was a guest. His stay inspired the tale of the Overlook Hotel. He felt not outright horror, but a profound, unsettling sense of being watched by the hotel itself. Other guests, especially creatives, report a similar feeling, a surge of inspiration, a sudden solution to a writer's block, as if muses whisper ideas. The apparitions are light touch, almost shy. Children might be heard giggling and running down the fourth-floor hallways. A former housekeeper, Elizabeth Wilson, is said to still tend room 217, the very room where King stayed. Guests have found suitcases unpacked for them, or noticed a strange cold spot in the room, as if someone is tidying up. These are not acts of aggression, but of habit. The gentle ghosts of the Stanley go about their eternal business in this beautiful, isolated place. Chapter 4. Let us now drift from the mountains to the sea, to a vessel that has seen more history than most towns. Moored in Long Beach, California, the Queen Mary rests in quiet retirement, once a glamorous ocean liner, then a wartime troop ship, and now a floating hotel and museum. Imagine walking her long, elegant decks at night. The ship breathes around you, the faint splash in an empty pool where it's said a little girl named Jackie still plays. In the cabins, people have spoken of the scent of old perfume, or the feeling of someone sitting on the edge of their bed, a weight that disappears when they turn on the light. You might hear the clatter of unseen workers in the engine room, still tending to their beloved ship, or catch a glimpse of a woman in a vintage bathing suit by the poolside. It's a haunting of nostalgia, a living museum where the exhibits sometimes walk, talk. It's a reminder that this grand lady holds her secrets close, sharing them gently with those willing to listen. Oh, and, well, it's strangely comforting in its own way. Chapter 5. Some stories are not meant to comfort, but they are not meant to terrify either. They are steeped in deep, profound history, and a sorrow time has not erased. Our next gentle haunt takes us to the Tower of London. For nearly 1,000 years, its stones have witnessed triumph, intrigue, immense tragedy. Here, Anne Boleyn is said to walk in silent grief. Her story is one of power and betrayal, a queen who lost her crown and then her head. Her spirit is tied to the place of her imprisonment and execution. The sightings are quiet, dignified, and deeply melancholic. She walks with her head held high, a queen even in death. Sometimes she leads a solemn procession, a historical tableau in the dead of night. Witnesses speak of an overwhelming sadness, a cold not tied to temperature, the chill of history itself. Anne Boleyn's ghost doesn't interact with the living. Her presence is a gentle reminder that some wounds mark the very places where history was made. Chapter 6. Not all spirits who linger are famous figures or tragic queens. Some are ordinary people tied to a place they loved, showing kindness beyond the grave. A lost key returns to the most obvious spot. A blanket is gently draped at midnight. They say the original innkeeper still tends her guests, a haunting that feels like a warm hug. And so our tour of gentle haunts comes to a close.